But now we gotta get into the fight stories now, right? Isaiah, since this was your idea, you seem like a pacifist, bro. I don't think you would really fight somebody.
Nah, man, I should have. But like when I was growing up in school, I was scared of confrontation, so that was a whole other thing.
You were scared of confront, dog. Aren't you like? How tall are you? Like 6, like fucking 4, right?
No, I'm like 6'10".
This motherfucker.
No, I'm 5'11". I'm 5'11".
That's at 6'10".
I actually believed him for a second. I said, "Ashamed to beat everything."
He fucking
No, I'm 5'11".
Sounds 16, deep ass voice. Is it me or does this nigga voice get deeper? Like fucking the longer we've been doing this fucking.
The funniest comment I've seen on me and his episodes on his voice. Somebody, it was actually Prim. This nigga Prim commented and saying, "Why does Isaiah sound like he part of the witness protection program?"
Yeah, it was not. It was fucking like altered, bro. That's not how deep my voice sounds in real life on those episodes. It was different.
I didn't notice any difference. So when everybody was calling it out, I'm like, "What are y'all talking about?" It's all the same to me.
I sound like a monster.
Your real life sound like John Cena, bro. I swear to God.
I don't this
nigga Isaiah on the first 48 trying not to get caught.
Shit, if he was trying to fucking get away, the one thing they give away, this nigga, you start talking to him. All right, what's up, everybody? That's that, bro. That's a wrap. We found it, nigga.
So there's been no fights at all that you've ever been in. Not even that you started, but like you haven't been in at all.
I have 2 stories. One is a fight I wasn't involved in, but it's funny as I'll just get into that shit. And the other one doesn't count as a fight, but it was an altercation. So the second one was freshman year's gym class. We were in the locker room, and I forgot what this one dude fucking said. He said something about my mom, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
so, that's grounds for getting slapped already.
Yeah. No, instead of using my hands, because like I said, I'm scared of confrontation, I just fucking grab my fucking like a pair of shorts and I just like whip him across the fucking face with it. It was like an Indiana Jones right across the fucking left side of his face. And this dude had a mark. It was a red ass mark.
that was the fresh out the shower shorts.
Yeah, that's what I had to do. And then after that, the dude was chill.
You made somebody calm down by slapping them in the face with your wet shorts.
They weren't wet. They were just fucking. There's a lot of fucking momentum with them things. I don't even know. Velocity. That's the word. But no. And then the second story is I was in a architecture class. It was like an intro to architecture, and it was during passing period, and I'm just sitting at my desk waiting for class to start, just scrolling through my phone. And then this one dude, the guy that sits directly to the left of me, just comes in with like all bloody. I was like, what the fuck? And he didn't even acknowledge it. Like he just sits down, just bleeding out his fucking lip. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And we make eye contact. He still doesn't say anything. I was like, you good? He's like, yeah, I just got into a fight. Just like it was no big deal. And at the school I was at, fights were rare as hell. Very rare. So I'm like, this dude is not making a big deal out of this at all. And then as the rest of the class starts coming in, like, dude, nice one, because like at that point, oh, so he won, because they're like hyping him up and shit. So what happened was like he just like some guy said some shit. I forgot. It was a rich kid, and this dude was like a ROTC type dude. Like he was pretty jacked for a high schooler. This niggas. He was pretty chill, but he was I would not want to get in a fight with him. That dude was like even for a high school, that dude was big as fuck. But now I remember like I forgot what he said, but like the rich kid said something to him, and like in one punch he like uppercutted this dude, apparently knocked him out. And then he just walks through. Like, no, it wasn't like the guy said some shit, got a hit in. That's why he was bleeding from the lip. And in retaliation, he hit him with the uppercut and just fucking knocked him out. And then just came to class. And
that is incredible.
And it doesn't stop there. So the teacher starts the class. Everyone's aware of what's happening. We're just waiting for the security guard to come take him to the principal's office while the teacher begins the class. And then like 5 minutes in, there's like, and the security guard was also like an assistant basketball coach. So he was like 6'6". So he just fucking walks in and everyone just turns their head. The teacher's like, "What's going on?" And he just points to the dude, and the teacher notices the bleeding lip. He's like, "What the fuck?" He didn't say that, but you can tell in like his facial expression. He's like, "What the fuck?" And then he just takes him away, and then the whole class just bursts into laughter once they leave the classroom and tell him what happens. It's fucking crazy. Nuts. Yeah.
Classroom full of ops, nigga. It's crazy.
Shit, a story. This is about to be an elementary school story for me, bro.
Oh shit.
I'm somebody who I definitely don't. I try not to fight a lot at all because that shit really it solves nothing. Like it helps both parties get all of the anger out. But at the end of the day, I try to avoid that shit. But there was one instance back in elementary school. This kid was on my damn nerves. So I used to be a tumbler when I was younger. I got too old. My body got too weak. I stopped doing that shit. But I was that one little nigga that was like doing backflips off of everything, the monkey bars, the top of any playground equipment. I would flip off the top of that bitch. And it was a dude I went to school with named Kenny. Now I actually used to live across the street from my elementary school, and Kenny lived like 3 houses down from me. So we used to hang all the time. And one day the best thing about me flipping, I used to purposely do this. I got everybody's attention. Like it would be like 14 other kids on the playground doing whatever. I'll start flipping. All 14 kids would just stare at me. And so I used to love the attention. I used to love the attention from that shit. So it was one time I was like doing because people, I'll do one flip. Oh, try to flip off of this. Like, so they used to love that shit. So one time, this man, the playground was had like woodchucks and shit. That's what the surface was. This nigga one day Kenny kept picking up woodchucks and throwing them at me while I was flipping. Like either right as I was about to do the flip, as soon as I stood up, was about to flip, he would throw something at me while I was in mid-air. He was throwing them shit at me. So it was one time I asked him to stop, and he didn't stop. So one time I was mid backflip. This nigga threw some woodchucks. That shit hit me in my face, and it fucked up my landing. I landed right on my arms when I did the backflip. Luckily for me, it wasn't a super high ass surface. It was like a small ass little bar. So he hit me with the woodchucks, and I ended up landing on my arms, and I started like screaming because it hurt. And I got up and I started chasing this dude, right? Yeah. And he started laughing as soon as he saw that I fell. But once I got up and started chasing him, he started running. This dude, mind you, we was across the street from both of our houses. We lived across the street from the school and the playground. This dude was running, and I was able to hawk him for a little bit. I started to lose my stamina, but I was able to catch up to him. Where he fucked up is where he got to his front porch and he needed time to open the door. I started beating his fucking ass. He was able to get away for like 2 seconds, but the moment he got to his front door and he had to open the screen door and then the regular door, like it was over. I grabbed this nigga by the back of his collar shirt and I threw him on the porch. I started whooping his ass.
Damn. God damn.
Me and him have never spoken since then.
Why?
I mean, we went to school and shit. And we saw each other all the time, but after that, I just didn't want to be friends with him anymore. And his mama used to see me and get so mad because that's the only reason the fight ended. Because his mama, I guess, was like in the living room, like watching TV, so she just hear like 2 little boys on her front porch. So she opened the door and she like pushed me off of him and shit. It was like, take your ass home, whatever. It was no conversation. She opened her door and saw me beating Kenny's ass and just threw me off of him and was like, take your ass home. And like after that, I never talked to him. I never talked to his mama. It was nothing to discuss.
Yeah.
Damn, that nigga to this day probably can never look at a woodchuck again.
He could never look at he could never look at a screen door again. That nigga probably put his hands on the screen door handle, just look around paranoid.
Want to get your back.
That little hesitation was all I needed. As soon as I saw that his door wasn't open, he needed time. I was like, oh yeah. I started fucking him up after that.
Man, that's crazy. This nigga said, "Oh yeah, word. I'm about to hawk you at your house,
nigga." It was such a long ass run to like from the playground. Well, I just scratched. I ain't gonna lie. It was a long ass run because it was across the street from the actual playground to his crib. Was like a good 20 to 25 seconds because we were both running. So it took like a good 20 seconds. Like, and he was able to almost get away from me. But the fact that he had to take time to open the screen door and his front door, that's when he fucked up. The moment he laid his hand on that screen door, I started beating his ass.
That's crazy. Young Amir was a savage.
I mean, it was a little kid though. Like, you already know I'd be bullying him.
This aesthetic was instilled in you since you was born.
I already got a couple of stories of me getting jumped and robbed, but I've told them on other podcasts like already. So robbed at gunpoint, all that shit.
My shit is petty.
Whenever I meet somebody who told me they never been like robbed, they never been jumped, I'd be like, you a lucky ass nigga.
Oh man.
It makes you learn. It makes you learn more though. Like the time that I got like jumped and robbed at gunpoint, it immediately made me not trust like nobody. If I'm walking on the street and I'm not speaking to nobody unless I have to.
I feel it.